Got a new build coming up. I'm trying to pick out some of the best parts, some of my favorite AR-15 accessories and parts. And one of the most important outside of the barrel is your bolt carrier group, specifically your bolt. This is one of the AIM Surplus nickel boron bolt carriers and nitrided bolt, nitrided gas key. The nitride finish is just super slick. In fact, a lot of companies are going to this to coat the inside of the barrel, which this barrel has been done in that fashion instead of the chrome plated. One of the problems about chrome plating is that it's very difficult to get a very consistent coating on it. With the nitride, it's much easier and it holds up really well. If you ever get a chance to mess with any nitrided bolts or any kind of parts, you'll notice how slick it is. The lubricity is excellent. And so we're going to try this out. We're going to actually shoot this in another rifle to test it first, and then we're going to be putting it into our project rifle. Now, there are a lot of different bolt systems out there. I mean, there are so many different companies making bolt carrier groups. And so I really look for the companies that talk about the specifics and the quality that goes into each of the bolt carriers. You can buy just a standard bolt carrier. In fact, if you go to most sites and look up how the bolt carriers are made, there's very little information typically. And that's one of the things about this that I was very impressed with. Not only is it the nickel boron with the nitride, but it goes into all the specifics. This is MPI tested, so it's magnetic particle testing, and that's a scan they do over the process of the bolt to make sure there are no stress fractures or anything, and that's been done. It's also shot peened, which it's bombarded with small particles that actually harden the surface of the metal. Not only the bolt, but also the gas key. And those are really important features to make sure and to ensure quality, especially if you're shooting a lot. We're going to disassemble the bolt carrier. I specifically want to talk about some things with the bolt carrier and the components that go into this. The cam pin has been nitrided as well. Of course, your bolt. This is the heart of your rifle with the barrel. You've got your locking lugs that fit in. Now, this is 9310 tool steel, so it's a very hard steel. And then, of course, with the magnetic particle testing and the shot peening, it's really going to ensure this to have a really durable finish to it. And then also with the cam pin, all these have been nitrided. And of course, you can see the gas key as well. One of the things about the gas key is that it has been properly staked. It has the grade 8 fasteners, which is per military spec. The gas key is 4140 steel. The fasteners are hardened, and as you can see, it is black nitrided. One of the things I want to talk about, though, specifically is the black nitriding. And that's a new process that's really taking the market by storm. And a lot of that has to do, again, with the lubricity. This is super slick. One of the things about the black nitriding, too, is that it is extremely durable and it's resistant to corrosion. In fact, these have been tested up to 96 hours with a salt spray test, and that's guaranteed 96 hours. They can go up to 200 hours. And really, for most of us that, unless you live on the coast and you're getting a lot of salt, that's not really going to be a problem. But that's going to translate to a bolt and a system that's impervious to the weather. Now, I want to talk just a minute about the application of the black nitride finish. It's a thermochemical diffusion process. And what that does, it takes a nitrogen and carbon and it diffuses it onto the surface. And so it makes it really hard and really durable. And then it's quenched in an oxidizing salt bath. Now, what you're getting most of the time with most of your bolt and bolt carriers is a phosphate finish. And that is really, it's held up well and it's done fine, but this is so much superior. One of the things about phosphate is it's a little bit gritty and it has a texture to the surface, and that's going to retain a lot of the carbon and other things. With the nitride, because it's so slick, all of that is going to slide right off. One of the things about nickel boron and with nitriding is they're so easy to clean, especially with direct impingement systems. They're notorious for being dirty and getting dirty because of the gas system. And so this is going to keep that really low, keep it down. Now, it has a low coefficient of friction, and that's just a fancy term to say that this is going to be very slick and it's going to move in the action really smoothly. And the black nitriding is abrasion resistance. It actually soaks into the metal and it permeates the metal. And so very similar to what the Glock slides, they're just super durable, super hard. And one of the great things too about nitriding is that the process does not distort the parts. You start to put a lot of processes with heat and quenching and everything else on these metal parts, and it can cause some distortion. And that's one of the things about the black nitriding. It really holds down the distortion. Now I do want to talk a little bit about the extractor, and we're just going to push the pin through and pull the extractor off. It's black nitrided as well. And a lot of bolt, even if they're nickel boron bolts, a lot of times have the black extractor. And this has been, again, it's been nitrided. It does have the crane O-ring that's been inserted under the extractor. And this is going to cause for more positive extraction of the round or the case once the bullet's been fired. And the cam pin, which is 4340 steel, this has been black nitrided. It's been quenched and tempered and heat treated. So it's going to be very strong. Now the firing pin is 8640 tool steel, and it's hard chrome to mill standard, which is obviously typical if it's mill standard. That's one of the things, again, all this information that I'm telling you right now is on the AIM website. And I love that because everything is listed, all the specs, everything about the process. The bolt carrier itself has been nickel boron coated, which makes it really slick. And this really helps with lubricity. And one of the things about a bolt carrier is a lot of guys like to run them really wet to keep them going. And with a phosphate bolt carrier, you know, it can be important to keep that to function well, because if they get gummy and bogged down, they tend to hold up in the action. It tends to slow down the cycling. One of the things about nickel boron, and especially this process, the EXO nickel boron finish, they've done tests on these firing 50,000 rounds without any lubrication on the bolt carrier with an AR rifle, with carbines about 18,000 rounds, because the gas system is shorter, and so you're going to have a lot more fouling. And then with machine guns up to 23,000 rounds without any failures, and that was with no lubrication. Now, I definitely recommend putting some lubrication on your bolt carrier group regardless. But what's going to happen is it's going to run longer and it's going to be more durable. And that's really important for your go-to rifle. The bolt carrier group is 8620 tool steel. It has radius cuts where it's been cut and then polished right here in the important areas. These surfaces right here are what ride inside your upper receiver. And so this has been enhanced. So, you know, that's just an added benefit. Guys, it's really important to know how your bolt carrier works, how to disassemble it, what goes on with it, and that way you can diagnose any kind of problems that you have. And I'm a big proponent in knowing your firearms. You know, it's funny, the first time I had an AR-15, I just felt like the thing was almost magic, you know, to work on it, and you really needed to know what you were doing. And, you know, you do need to know what you're doing, but it's not that difficult to learn how to do it. Your firing pin, retaining pin, kind of bows out, and it needs to, because that's what keeps it into place. And so when you're putting it in, sometimes it can be a little bit of a problem. I push down on my firing pin to make sure it's in place. And of course I am behind the camera. There it goes. One of the things though about this particular bolt carrier group is that it's $109.95, and that is shipped, which is phenomenal. AIM Surplus has a lot of different parts. You can go on there. Not only do they have AR-15 and AK-47 parts, but they also have a lot of surplus stuff. So I'm a big fan of AIM. I've been buying stuff from AIM for years. And one great thing about this bolt carrier group is that it is made in the USA. It's stated made in the USA, and that's really important. Your heat treating, everything that's done to this needs to be top notch. And so just make sure, you know, sometimes most of the bolt carrier groups out there, most of your parts are made here in the US, but unless it says so, you need to really be leery and make sure that it is. Now the AR-15 and the M16 were designed around the M16 bolt carrier, and that is this shroud, the lower shroud, coming all the way to meet the top. On your AR-15 bolt carrier, it'll be cut back about this far, and that is to keep from engaging the auto sear, and that's one of the reasons why they started cutting them. It is not illegal to have an M16 bolt carrier in your rifle. In fact, it's preferred. So anytime I buy a bolt carrier, it's definitely got to be M16 bolt carriers. The test upper is going to be one of the Wyndham Weaponry MPC carbines. This is kind of like a test rifle. It's a basic rifle, not a lot of frills, and we're just going to put the AIM Surplus bolt carrier group in here. Now we're ready to go to the range.
Dead on.
There's so many different accessories and parts and upgrades for the AR-15 rifle, and a lot of guys are out there tricking out their ARs, but if you're not really looking into your bolt carrier group, that's the #1 place you need to look. If you're not going to do anything else, a nice bolt carrier group is where you really need to spend your money. It is the heart of the rifle along with your barrel system. And of course, with the nickel boron, with the lubricity, with the easy to clean, it just makes it really slick. And also with the Nitride as well. This is just an excellent choice, and really it's not any more expensive than your standard mil-spec bolt carrier group. So if you're looking to upgrade your AR-15, one of the best places to start is your bolt carrier group. Go to aimsurplus.com. Again, it's in my favorites because I spend a lot of money at AIM Surplus. And so check them out, not only for a lot of AR, AK parts and accessories, but also a ton of surplus stuff. I mean, there's just a lot of great deals on AIM Surplus. So the AIM Surplus EXO nickel boron bolt carrier and nitrided bolt, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. And how much it's just lubricated. I mean, it'll function. It's a thermonuclear, you know, military guys, just to be able. And no, I'm not being paid by AIM Surplus or any other gun company. Thank you. Oh yeah.